everybody, this is Eric Johnson. For those of you expecting a Forrest Fenn video, this will not be one. This will be pure politics. This channel is changing direction in some ways, and we're going to discuss everything from UFOs to unsolved mysteries. Well, UFOs is an unsolved mystery. To politics, which is the subject today, a very, very serious video today. I think a pretty eye-opening one, but for anyone else interested, stick around. On November 3rd, I sat at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:15 in the morning, whatever it was, and I watched a very unusual thing happen. I watched the voting of ballots for an election, for a presidential election, stop in the middle of the night. And I was surprised. I was uneasy. I didn't know what was going on. Well, we eventually found out what happened. What happened was that in some parts of the country, most usually in the swing states, voter fraud occurred. Ballots were brought in, illegal ballots, and they were added to the vote count in the middle of the night. All sorts of things happen, and we're now trying to get to the bottom of it. Folks, we are in the middle of an incredibly serious situation right now. We have forces in this world that are trying to run this country. You can go back to John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated by the military-industrial complex with the help of the mafia under the auspices of the CIA, which basically is the military-industrial complex. That happened back then. That was the, quote, right wing that killed our president, your president, right? That happened in the United States of America. We've already had a coup in this country that we know of. That was a coup. We've had an attempted coup now in this country by, quote, the left. Whatever you want to call them. George Soros. I mean, is China the left? When China bribes our politicians, are they the left? No, they're a country trying to change the direction of our foreign policy to benefit them. When you have countries in Europe like Ukraine bribing our officials, is that the left? Just because it seems to be at this moment in time mainly the left that are being bribed, etc. Note that Sidney Powell, one of the problems she had with the Trump campaign or the Trump administration, from my understanding is that she made it clear that her investigation of the voter fraud, even if it touched Republicans, she wasn't going to let that stop her. It's my understanding that's part of the reason that the two legal teams diverted like they did. But I think they were on. They're following two different legal strategies as it is. So I think that's really more to the point. This shouldn't be about Republican and Democrat. This should be about our country getting a fair vote when we all go and submit our ballots. Regardless of who wins this presidential race, the important thing, the very important thing right now is that we make sure voter fraud, especially of the extent that it seems to be going on this year, but anytime, we make sure voter fraud does not exist to the best of our ability to stop it. Now, what you're going to watch is a little video I put together last night and today. I was able to procure off the net some video showing voter fraud in Michigan and Detroit, one of the swing states affected by the recounts, etc., that we're going through right now. This video by a guy named Black Bart, that's his web name, shows ballots being walked into a voting center in the middle of the night by numerous people. You can see their bags, you can see their cartons, you can see their illegal ballots being brought in. That's not normal, folks. That's not the way it's supposed to happen. But it explains why we had this peculiar stopping of the count on election night. What I understand now is that in some parts of the country, in some states that were dedicated to fraud and dedicated to Trump not winning, when they saw that the Trump landslide, which it looks like he might have had, was too big, they stopped counting. And they brought in the votes to bump up the numbers to defeat Trump. It sounds unbelievable, but I believe it. And I think you're going to be interested in the way I've done this, because I'm going to juxtapose the obvious voter fraud that was caught on clandestine cameras that were not supposed to be videoing what they videoed. But they got away with it, and they were able to put it out on the internet. You're going to see people bringing in illegal ballots, looking like something out of The Walking Dead, walking in the middle of the night with their bags and carts and boxes of ballots. You're going to see a ballot center, voting center, an election center. You're going to see an election center manager yelling at Republican challengers to get out of the room. He's telling the poll watchers, an integral part of election night. Both parties have people there to watch the ballot counting and make sure it's legal, that it's kosher. You'll hear him yelling, all you Republican, challengers, get out of here. They kicked him out. You're going to see windows being blocked so that the ballot counting. You're going to see windows being blocked, cardboard panels being put up on the windows so that the ballot counting can be done in private. It's not supposed to be done that way, folks. And you're going to see Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State, someone who has been now named in a lawsuit by the Trump administration for fraudulent practices going on. You're going to see her completely deny it. You're going to see her completely deny it while it's going on. I'm glad I was able to get these videos from Black Bart, whoever he is. I'm not sure you can still get them out there. I've got them saved in 2 different places now. I'm not sure how long this video is going to remain on YouTube. It may. I mean, I was still able to find the Black Bart video. Maybe they're just not alerted to it yet. I know some of you are going, you sound paranoid. I am paranoid. I am paranoid. You should be paranoid. It ain't paranoia if you're right. There are forces in this country, folks, trying to subvert the will of the people. 2/3 of the American population right now support recounts. I would support revotes, but apparently that is illegal, or it's not constitutional in a lot of states. Because I just think some of these votes need to be done over, not the recounts. We know that in Georgia, where they already had a recount where they recounted the fraudulent votes. How did that happen? Enough said. You get the point. Those of you that are interested in watching this, you got a handle on what's going on. So I hope you enjoy the video. I think to juxtapose the fraud going on with Jocelyn Benson lying her ass off, and by the way, not doing a very good job of it, Jocelyn. Compressing your lips during an interview and, stumbling once over something. It wasn't that long an interview, and I gotta say, lady, you look kind of nervous to me. You didn't look that sure of yourself, and if you're going to remain in politics in this country, or most countries of the world. You better learn to lie a lot better. You better learn, sitting there glibly saying that the lawsuit's frivolous and all that, and kind of laughing and, oh, could you believe it? When you watch it, the guy says, the administration's accusing you of the voting process being a mess. And she kind of laughs. A mess? No, they're accusing the voting process of being fraudulent. Only MSNBC. They're saying the way you did it was a mess. I'll leave you guys to watch it. I hope you enjoy it. And God help this country. God help all of us. Because, if we can't go in and vote and be sure that our votes are being honestly counted, we're screwed. We're screwed, folks. I don't know how else to put it.
Republican challengers out of this room.
I want to turn now to a very special guest. The Trump campaign filed a suit today. They are suing the Secretary of State of Michigan, Jocelyn Benson, and she joins us now in our MSNBC special coverage. Secretary of State Benson, thanks for joining me.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm holding this brand new lawsuit. You are named as the defendant, Jocelyn Benson, in your official capacity as Secretary of State. I propose we begin with a lightning round so people can understand what, if anything, is impacted, and then give you time to give us a more lengthy consideration of the issues. But yes or no, does this suit change any of the counting process thus far that your state is doing?
Nope, it does not. We've got a transparent, secure, meticulous process. We're going to continue to count every vote and ensure that every valid vote is counted.
And yes or no, does this, in your view, change anything regarding the numbers you've provided to the press, which has begun calling some of these races, including NBC, projecting Biden winning Michigan?
Nope, it does not either. Again, we're continuing to count every vote. We trust our process, and we've been transparent, and we stand by the numbers, the process, and the hardworking election workers who've been tabulating every vote since the polls opened at 7 a.m. on Tuesday.
Copy. So I think that's very important because you're giving us a context for what this has done. Thus far, this suit has not changed anything in Michigan. Now I want to give you a little more time and walk us through what is your response on behalf of the state to what the Trump campaign is accusing, because they're effectively saying that Michigan and you are messing up and that somehow you're not following the rules that provide for this type of transparency and oversight of the counting, which, regardless of which candidate people like, is the law of the land and is important. Your response?
So let me be abundantly clear. First of all, this is a meritless, frivolous lawsuit and really just an attempt to sow seeds of doubt about the integrity of our well-established election process and protocols, right at the moment when we anticipated a lot of misinformation was going to target our state, from the minute the polls closed to the minute we were about to and get very close to having that full tabulation. So recognize it for what it is, an attempt to confuse and obfuscate a transparent, secure process in Michigan, where all of our legal protocols have been followed by election workers, thousands of whom have been working for hours through the night to meticulously tabulate every vote. And we will continue to do so. As I've said, and again, made abundantly clear, there is no candidate, no campaign, no political party who will stand in the way of our commitment to ensure that every valid vote in Michigan will be counted and that only valid votes in Michigan will be counted.
And my final question to you is not about the actual lawsuit, which, again, they have the ability to file, so that is a part of the legal process, and we'll see where it goes, but something much broader from the President of the United States today. He has posted online through Twitter that he, quote, hereby claims the state of Michigan if, in fact, there were a large number of secretly dumped ballots, as has been widely reported, end quote. Just so folks understand, and I believe this is the odd part of reporting these matters in 2020, but just doing my job here. When a sitting president says he, quote, hereby claims Michigan in the eventuality of some belief, does that have any significance whatsoever to who wins Michigan? Your response?
It does not, because candidates don't declare and decide who wins elections. Voters do. Election workers tabulate every vote. That's what decides who wins or loses an election. That's how democracy works. And that's exactly the process we're following here in Michigan. It's a process I'm proud of. It's a process I stand by. And it's a process that a number of citizens and millions of voters all across the state have placed their faith in by casting their ballots on time. And we'll work to ensure, again, that every valid vote is counted. And, frankly, push back against all the misinformation that we continue to see escalate across the country and on social media as false information designed to falsely harm the integrity of our elections, when instead we're doing everything by the books, and everyone should have confidence that the ultimate results out of Michigan will be an accurate reflection of the will of the people.
Understood. Secretary of State Benson here providing an on-the-record response both to the lawsuit and the president's rather unusual claims. Appreciate your time tonight.